Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Prophetic Lifestyles with Bernard Bolton. And I want to welcome you to our prophetic perspective on the Hebrew month Shevat. And we see we already have two persons who've joined us. Lila, who has joined us. We already see her in the chat box. Um, and so we're going to wait a few moments and see who else joins us before we get started tonight. I pray that uh, you're doing well and you're prospering. And so, yes, I see three people on now. So just write your name in the chat box, and that's how we identify you. That's how we identify you, by your name in the chat box. Okay. And so God bless you. And we are so excited to have you on with us tonight. And I know it's, because we're looking at the Hebrew month, which starts the 11th Hebrew month, which starts tomorrow. But now we're in the second day of the new year. And so, how do we align that? And it is possible to align it by the numbers, because the Hebrew year is 5782, which started in September, or the month Teshri, and the Jewish New Year, the Hebrew New Year, always starts in the month of Teshri. So on the Hebrew calendar, we are already 4 months into the year, and then on the Gregorian calendar, um, we're 2 days into the year. But what aligns those 2 years is the number two, 5782 on the Hebrew calendar, and then 2022 on the Gregorian calendar. All right, so I pray that our perspective on tonight. Hello, Keytrick. I hope I'm pronouncing your name. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being on with us tonight. All right, we've got several resources that we put in the chat box to help you, and of course. Although this is not a ministry. When we do the prophetic time, it's not linked to our ministry. I've had people to ask about giving, and so as a result, hey Deborah, good to see you tonight. So I've had people who follow us on YouTube who has asked us about giving. So we put a giving link there. You're not obligated to give, but if you want to sow, we do have a ministry, and that ministry is Renaissance Prophetic Network. And so you can either give to the link, or you can give at Cash App. That's my Cash App, and we'll make sure that it gets to the right place. Um, and so that's for you that's interested in giving. See a lot of people coming on. Please write your name in the chat box. Let us know who you are. If you are interested in having a dream or a vision interpreted, I am a dream and vision interpreter, and I can interpret your dreams and visions. And I also offer dream coaching, where that's a session where I actually walk you through your dreams or a dream, and we look at how to integrate that dream into life and how to make it a part of your reality. So we've got the link there. You can go and visit and read the information. And if you're interested in getting a dream interpreted, or you're interested in having a dream coaching session, you can do that with us as well. And I thought I had, but I didn't include it. I thought I had a link on there for you to get my book, uh, the Prophetic Dreams and Vision Handbook, but we do have that in the description box. So we've got a link there if you want to get a copy of our latest book, um, Prophetic Dreams and Vision Handbook. You can get that. All right. Yeah. So it's good to see Deborah on with us. Deborah is one of the members of the Renaissance Prophetic Network, and we're thankful for you. So, hey, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully, more people will come on as you are coming on. Hey, Victoria, always good to see you. All right. And so, as you're coming in, and if you have any questions for us, please feel free to write your questions in the chat box and we'll try to answer that. Now, I want to start tonight on why do we do these prophetic perspectives on the Hebrew months. And one of my projects, and because every year I seek the Lord for the work that He wants me to do in that year. And usually I do that around my birthday. And so my birthday is February 27th. And so I'm already looking into my new year. Okay. So there's a lot of new years. It's not just the new year of the world calendar, January 1, but your your birthday is a new year. Okay. On the Hebrew calendar, there's actually 3 new years. There's the spiritual new year, which is uh, which started when the Lord delivered Israel from Egypt, and he changed the calendar, and he said the day that they left Egypt, this is the beginning of months, and so that's why we count the months starting from Nisan to Nisan. Okay. And so that's the spiritual new year. And then in the fall, we have the civil new year, which is Rosh Hashanah, and that's a new year. And then they have the new year of trees, which actually takes place in the month of Shevat this month on the 15th day. So there's 3 new years. We only have 1 new year, which is January 1, but in the Hebrew calendars, there's 3 new years. And the thing that I love about New Year's is that you don't have to limit yourself to the calendar, okay, to the world's calendar. You don't even have to limit yourself to the Hebrew calendar. We don't follow the Hebrew calendar in the sense of it being a calendar that dictates our times. But one of the things that I'm hoping that I'm doing for you is I'm giving you an understanding of prophetic time. And so to be prophetic, we need to look at the times and seasons on the Hebrew calendar. And because that is, I believe that is the time that God has established. Okay. Not that the other calendars are not important, and the Gregorian calendar is not the only calendar. I think the Catholic Orthodox Church, I believe they have a calendar. Islam, although we don't agree with that religion, but Islam has its own calendar. And so what I'm saying is that there is freedom for you to determine the times that you live in. For me, every birthday for me is my new year. And so when I look at what is it that the Lord wants me to do for the year, I start on my birthday, February 27th. And so those are the 12 months where I'm building my vision for the year. But then prophetically, I'm looking at the Hebrew calendar as well. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so why do we spend time every month talking about the Hebrew month? And I want to start talking about that, and that's in Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1, beginning at verse 14. Then God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years." Okay. Hallelujah. Hey, Evelyn, good to see you. Happy New Year to you as well. All right. And so listen, so God created time on the 4th day. God created time. God said, "Let there be seasons." Okay. And seasons are appointed times. And one of the purposes of seasons, because really every month is a season, And one of the things that we are called to do in a season is we're called to meet the Lord. Okay. And so in meeting with the Lord, well, one of the things we want to do in every month, which is a season, is we want to meet with the Lord to determine what is it that the Lord wants to do. What is it that the Lord wants us to do? And what are we partnering with the Lord for? All right. Well, thank you, Alina. I so appreciate you for being on with us. Okay. And so God created seasons. We live in seasons. Okay. And those seasons are appointed times. So every month, every season, there's things that you are appointed to do. And one of those things that you're appointed to do is to meet with the Lord. All right. And then there are days. Okay. God created days, and days is a division of time, uh, 24 hours actually, but it is a division of time. And within the day, okay, God created days for us to move and to prosper. The Hebrew word for day is yom. I'm not going to do a lot of teaching on that, but if you want to get my online course on understanding times and seasons, we teach on that, and that will be very helpful to you. So, how are you living? Because most people don't live, they don't use the day as it is supposed to be used. And then there are years. Okay, well, years are actually the sum total of the years of the year that is revolving. And days and years are divisions of time. So when God created time, God created time for us. God created time for us. Hello, hello. Good to see you, LaRonda. All right. So one of the reasons why we do these monthly meetings and we do these monthly perspectives on the Hebrew month is so that you will come to know what is the season about. What is this month, this 11th month that we're coming into, which starts tomorrow. Now, the month starts at sundown. In the Hebrew calendar, the day begins at sundown, it begins in the evening. That is also linked to time because God started creation in the evening. So when you look in each of the days, the 6 days of creation and the seventh day, you will notice that hey Angela, I need to get an email from you. I've been praying, really been praying hard for you over the last week because the Spirit has had you in my heart. So I need an email from you to know how you're doing and what's going on. Okay. All right. And so God has given us these. He's given us these seasons. He's given us these days. He's given us these years so that we might know how to move, and so that we might know how to prosper, how to meet with the Lord. Okay, how to what activities should we be doing in that month, because that month and then the month itself, because this is a prophetic perspective, we're also pointing to darkness, but we're also pointing light in darkness. All right, because time actually was created by the light. If you look there in Genesis 1:14, the Lord said, let there be lights. So our time is actually governed by light. Light is a prophetic picture of revelation, of instruction, of prosperity, and all of that. All right, and so this is why we do these prophetic perspectives on the Hebrew month. And as I said in the beginning, we plan on releasing a book before Nisan, which is in about 2 months, and we're going to release a month that talks about the prophetic meaning of each of the Hebrew months. Okay, so tomorrow, tomorrow at sundown, the 11th month starts. on Monday. That's on our calendar. That's Monday, January the 3rd. The 11th month start. Hey, Monica, good to see you. So that 11th month starts on tomorrow. And so I want to talk tonight about what does the 11 mean, and what does this month represent? Okay. Now, of course, the number 11, uh, when I look at the number 11, I look at the Hebrew letters. Okay. I look at the Hebrew letters. And so the number 11 is comprised of ayin, the Hebrew letter ayin, shin, tav, and yod. Okay. Ayin is actually the eye. So this is the month to see. This is the month of vision. So one of the things you should be getting in the 11th month is you should be getting vision and seeing clearly, seeing what the Lord is saying to you, seeing what opportunities are before you, seeing what obstacles. But this is a month of vision. The number 11 is linked to vision. The number 11 is also linked to agreement. So many of the Hebrew months calls us to agreement. If we're going to prosper in this month, then we need to have agreement. Whoever's in your life, you need to have agreement. If you have disagreement with anyone in your life, it's going to be very hard for you to prosper. So this is a month of agreement. Try to, find agreement. First, find agreement in yourself. All right, which means that there's an agreement between your spirit, soul, and body. And then find agreement in your relationships. So if you're having struggles with people, you need to fix that. Okay, so this is a month of agreement, and as we walk in agreement, that actually causes us to prosper. This is also a month to see signs and miracles. The Hebrew letter Tav is actually the last Hebrew letter in the alphabet, and Tav means signs and miracles. So this is a month to see miracles. This is a month for us to see signs. All right, this is the month of creativity. It's a month to create. It's a month to be energetic, and it's a month to live and to experience life. Okay, so those are the Hebrew letters that make up the number 11. So 11 is a very positive word, or a very positive term. Okay, if we understand it by the Hebrew alphabet. All right, but 11 also is a month of challenges. The number 11, unfortunately, the number 11 also represents disorder and confusion. Okay, so one of the things, and this is why I said agreement. Okay, it's important. First of all, it's important that you have a vision of the Lord this month. It's important that you have the vision. Okay, because without vision, what happens to the people of God? They perish. All right, so this is a month where we have to see. We have to see what God is saying. We have to see what God is doing. Okay, we have to have clear vision. How do you get that? Okay, well, number one, you got a pure heart. Jesus said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." So make sure that your heart is pure. Okay, make sure that your heart is right. And then, because your heart affects your vision. So we have to have vision, because if we don't have vision, we're going to have disorder and confusion. All right, this is why there's so much confusion in the world, because we don't have vision. The world doesn't have it, but I'm not talking about the world, but even within the church or within the people of God, many of us don't have vision. All right, so as a result of no vision, there is disorder and confusion. Okay, and then unbelief. Okay, this is a month where we must believe. I've been really speaking to my spirit to believe. And I've been speaking to my spirit in anticipation of this month, and I'm going to keep doing it this month. I'm speaking faith. I'm not speaking what I see. I'm speaking what I see God saying and what God is doing. So I'm not speaking to what's going on in the world. There is still a lot of fear in the world. I live in Georgia, and right now we're having a outbreak of this Omicron variant, even though no one has died yet. But there is, and so I've been speaking faith, because what has kept me from the coronavirus, and I'm not judging those that may have actually got it, but the Lord told me what has kept me from getting it was my faith. Okay, I kept walking by faith. And so my faith actually was a shield that protected me from the coronavirus, even though I had been exposed to several people who had it, but I never had it. And so we have to speak to our faith, and we have to see faith. All right. And then also, if without creativity, the absence of creativity is confusion. So whatever your creative gift is, I'm looking at several of you who are writers. All right, you need to keep writing this month. Whatever your creative gifting is, whether you are an artist or a musician, a singer, a worshiper, whatever your creative gift is, this is really the month in order to walk in order and to walk in that you need to be creative. You need to really step up your creativity. I'm already looking at increasing my creativity this month, because I don't want disorder or confusion to come into my life. All right. Now, the number 11, because again, we're talking about the 11th month, but the number 11, there were 12 sons of Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons by his 2 wives and then several of his concubines. All right. And so there were 12 sons. 12 is the number of government, the number of order. But unfortunately, the brothers sold Joseph into slavery. And when they did that, it brought confusion and disorder into the family, because then there was only 11 sons left. This is why the number 11, it can be a blessing prophetically, but it can also, the number 11 reveals darkness. Just like in the last month, which I didn't do a perspective on last month, but I did speak on the Hebrew letter Tavet. And if you didn't watch that, you need to go back and look for it. But as I was looking at the number Tavet, we're looking at the alphabet Tavet. Tavet actually has a dual meaning to it. It may be the only Hebrew letter that means 2 things. So Tavet is it is a, not Tavet, but Tet, the Hebrew letter Tet, and Tet actually is in the name Tavet twice. So Tet actually looks like a basket. Okay. And so last month, if you chose what is good, then your basket was full of goodness. If you chose life, then your basket was full of goodness. But then on the other hand, Tet looks like a serpent. So it can be a basket, which represents blessings and goodness, or it can be a serpent, which represents the enemy. And so if you choose evil, then the serpent will rise up and strike. Okay. And so that's what that month, so in the midst of that month, we had this duality in the Hebrew letter Tet. Well, this month, the number 11 is a very positive number by the Hebrew spelling. But there were several things that happened in the history of the people. Okay, there were several things that happened in the history of the people that made the number 11 a burden. All right, so when the sons of Jacob sold Joseph into slavery, that brought disorder because there were no longer 12 sons. Now, the good news is that all of the sons came back to Jacob before he died, and he lived 17 years in restored fellowship with his son Joseph. 17 is the number of fellowship. All right. But the number 11, as long as there were only 11 sons, that meant that there was disorder and confusion in the house of Jacob. Okay. Now, in the new covenant, Jesus chose 12 apostles. And those 12 apostles were actually representatives, ambassadors of the kingdom of God. That's why they were chosen. Judas he chose to betray Jesus, and then when he betrayed Jesus, then he committed suicide. And so when Judas committed suicide, there were only 11 apostles, even though that was for a very short time, because they did replace Judas with Matthias, but for a short period there were 11 apostles. And so the number 11 always represents disorder and confusion. Someone made a bad choice. The sons of Jacob made a bad choice in betraying and selling their brother. If you're just coming on, please write your name in the chat box so I can know who you are. Judas made a bad choice by taking his own life, even though he had betrayed Jesus Christ. By the taking of his own life, he brought disorder and confusion among the apostles. Okay, so that's why the number 11 can be prophetically, it can be a blessing. Thank you, DB. Good seeing you, my brother. But then the number 11 can also be a burden. So we have to. So this is a month where we can walk in order. Okay, we can walk in agreement. And of course, the ultimate, I'm seeing the number 11 right now, very prophetic. There's 11 people. Now it just went to 12. Praise God. But I saw the number 11 right there. Hey, Loretta, good seeing you. I didn't know that you were from South Carolina. I lived there for 4 years in Fort Mill. And so this is a month where it can be a great month for us, but it also can be a month of disorder and confusion if we are not careful in the choices that we make. So we can walk in, okay, all right, I didn't know, I thought you were in Florida. All right. So DB was the 11th one. But I want to bless you, DB, by saying you're the 12th one, all right? Even though 11 is a blessed number. All right. 11 can be a blessed number. So it's really based upon your decision, how you're going to walk out this month, how you're going to, what you're going to do in this month. All right. Now, Genesis 11. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So you were born in South Carolina. Okay. All right. Now, Genesis 11 is a pivotal chapter because it was actually in Genesis 11 that was the first rebellion on a it was the first rebellion of the human race. Okay. In Genesis 11, Nimrod leads the human race, the entire race that was alive at that time. He led them to build a city and a tower. to stay to stay together. Now the Lord's instruction for the human race was to move out throughout the land and populate the land and to move, but Nimrod wanted to rule the world. All right, and so Nimrod was the first one who tried to bring together one world order or one world government, and he had enough influence and charisma. He's one of the descendants of Noah, the son of, I believe he was descended from Ham. And hey, Lindell, so good to see you. I don't remember you ever being on with us on a live stream. So God bless you. We're so glad to see you, and Happy New Year to you as well. All right, so the and so as a result of Nimrod's leadership, the people started to build a tower and a city, and their focus was to build this city and this tower to stay together, which sounds like a good deal, but it was rebellion against the will of God. So as a result, God brought confusion. He judged the people, and he brought confusion. But even in the midst of the confusion, then we begin to have an explosion of languages. So even though God judged it, most people don't understand is the judgment of God also brings blessings on the other side. So as the people begin to, as they gain new languages from Babylon, they begin to spread out, which was God's will. So Genesis chapter 11 represents disorder and confusion because mankind tried to do their own thing, tried to remain in one area and build a city and a tower unto themselves. Okay, so again, that shows us how the number 11 can represent disorder. All right, so this is an important month for us not to, one of the things I want to say, let's not cooperate. Hello, Pravana, good seeing you. Let's not cooperate with Babylon. See, Genesis 11 is actually the beginning of Babylon. And even though Babylon is not a physical kingdom, Babylon is a spiritual kingdom. It's the kingdom of Satan, and it rules the world. And one of the reasons why there is so much confusion and disorder in the world is because that spirit of Babylon is still on the world. Okay. Now many of us are called to Babylon. Okay. Through the marketplace, through your business. Some of you are called to be an intercessor. But here's the thing about Babylon. We can't change the system of Babylon. It will one day fall. But what we can do is we can go into Babylon and we can actually affect people's hearts. Okay. So Babylon even though it is a system, it is an ungodly system, and it is a system of darkness. But all of us have some dealings in Babylon. Okay, whether it's through your job, through your business, if you're involved in the community, even if you're in politics, if you have a call to politics, that's Babylon. Okay, and so many of us are in Babylon, but we're not of Babylon. Okay, and so for that reason, and this is one of the reasons why I left social media a year ago, because I was being overtaken by Babylon in social media. And here's the deal: it wasn't non-Christians that was vexing my spirit. It was actually Christians. It was Christians who had been deluded and deceived by the spirit of this age. And one of the manifestations of the spirit of this age is politics. And y'all remember what was going on a year ago. And so after praying about it, I left Facebook, Instagram, um, Twitter, and the Lord told me to just build here on YouTube, and I've had an incredible year. But here's the thing, okay? Uh, Babylon still represents this order. So even in the midst of Babylon, you still have to walk in peace, and you have to walk in order. You have to be a Daniel. You have to be like Daniel, okay, in the midst of that. All right. All right. So let's look at, so I want to look at a one scriptural reference. There's one scripture that speaks about the 11th month. Okay. So there's one reference in the scriptures that talks about the 11th month, and that is in Deuteronomy chapter 1. Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse number 3. And it says, now it came to pass in the 40th year. Okay, if someone can write that for me in the chat box. Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 3. That is the only reference in the Bible to the 11th month. All right. Now it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moses spoke to the children of Israel according to all that the Lord had given him as commandments to them. All right. Thank you, Lila. All right. And so in the 11th month, and that's actually the first day of the 11th month, that's tomorrow. Okay. Moses stood before the children of Israel, and he began to recite, or he began to review their history. Thank you, Keetrick. So Moses began to review their 40 years in the wilderness. So here's something else that the number 11 represents. It represents transition. So the number 11, so for many of you, this is a month of transition. This is what I want you to get, though. Please take these next 28 days. This month will actually go to about February the 2nd, I believe. All right. If you are in transition means to come. It means to come out of a place into another place. It means to cross over from one place to another. One of the things that the Gregorian calendar does represent is it represents transition, because January 1 is a transitory day, because we left the old year and now we have entered into the new year. But here's one of the challenges to being in transition. You need to know why, and you need to know where you are going. So please take this month, if you're in transition, all right, really seek the Lord. Look at your life. Look at what caused you to be in transition. Maybe it's time for you to change jobs. Maybe it's time for you to make a transition from one way of life into another. Maybe there's a transition in a relationship. Maybe there's a relationship coming to an end. Whatever that is, I'm bothered by the number of people who are in transition and they don't know where they're going. They don't know why. Okay? They don't know why they're in transition. These are the answers we need to be seeking the Lord for, or these are the answers we need to be seeking a mentor for. If you have a mentor, question them about what are they seeing in your life? What are they viewing? Okay. So in the 11th month actually began as a transition for Israel. They are now, it's 40 years they have been in the wilderness. Okay. Now they were in the wilderness because of disobedience, because of their unbelief. But now that entire generation has died, only Moses remains, and Moses will die before they leave the wilderness. So now that they're at the end of the 40 years, they're looking into the new. Okay? So the number 40 means to see the new. Don't say you're in transition if you don't know where you're going, or you don't see the picture. You don't have a picture of where you're going. Okay, because transition is not supposed to be confusing. Now there is a principle in transition where you may not know where you're going initially. When God told Moses to leave his father's house and his land and all of that, Hebrews 11 said Moses went out not knowing where he was going, but he was trusting the Lord. And before he got to Canaan, he knew where he was going. So, don't say you're in transition and you don't know where you're going. You don't know why you're in transition. Okay, hopefully it's not because of sin. It could just be, as I said, old things are ending. It's time for you to make a move. You need to be honest with yourself to say, what is it that I'm leaving? Okay, I've gone through several transitions in my life. My last transition was 2 years ago when the Lord told me, I want you in Atlanta. I heard the Lord say that. And so, it's possible for you to hear God. And when I heard the Lord say that, it was a whole year before I actually got to Atlanta. And the Lord had to do a lot of adjustment. He had to do a lot of breaking up things in my life, bringing things to an end, relationships coming to an end. The Lord had to do a lot of shifting and shaking in my life. But I was in transition for that 1 year. But listen, I knew where I was going. I knew that Atlanta was my next destination. Just as I knew in 2015, I didn't know what year it was going to be. I knew in 2015 that I was going to be coming out of the denomination that I was a pastor. I knew I was coming out of the pastoral life. I was coming out of the denominational life. I knew that because again, it was a prophetic word. See, if you're not hearing prophetically, then you're probably not in transition, because God will speak to you. The Lord literally spoke to me through the mouth of my mentor, and I was on a call with her in 2015, and she gave the word of the Lord to me. But she didn't, I don't think she knew it was for me. She just gave the word, and I heard in my spirit that word was for me. And so that word actually put me in a position to start contending for the change and for the coming out. And it would be, and this is the thing, that was in maybe April or May of 2015. And by February of 2016, I had left everything. I was a few weeks from turning 49, and I had left everything. But in that time, from that prophetic word until I actually came out, that's what transition looks like, y'all. Okay, so the number 11 is the number of transition. And I know I'm spending a lot of time on this. Many of you are in transition, but you need to know what is your transition. You need to have clear evidence. It needs to be clear to you. Even if it's not clear, you need to keep pressing into the Lord and hearing the Lord, or hearing prophecy, until you know where it is that the Lord is sending you, where your transition is taking you. Okay? And so in the 11th month, Moses began to recite the history of the 40 years that they have been in the wilderness. And so that's what the number 11 represents. It represents it represents a transition, because when Moses began to recite the history, Israel was in transition. They were coming out of the wilderness, and they were on their way into the promised land. All right. So y'all have been mighty quiet tonight. I am done. Again, this month can represent, the number 11 can represent vision, agreement, miracles, creativity. But then it also can represent disorder and confusion. It also represents transition. So whatever the month ahead for you looks like, okay, I'll encourage you to come back and watch. Save this in a playlist and come back and watch this prophetic perspective, and let this be a month. Let this be a great month for you. Okay, so God bless you. Thank you so much for being on with us. Anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions? All right. All right. Thank you, Lila, for taking notes. Of course, you can always come back and watch. And so we'll take, any questions about the prophetic month, the meaning of this month. What does this month, and please write that you understand what I'm saying, because I would hate to have spent almost 50 minutes with you and you don't have an understanding of what we talked about tonight. All right. And I want to also encourage you to go to the top of the chat, and I've got several resources there for you if you want to give. Again, because this is not connected with our ministry. This is something we do as part of our channel, prophetic lifestyle. But if you want to give, as some of you have asked in the past, we put a link there. You can give to Renaissance Prophetic Network. That is the ministry that we lead. Or you can give at Cash App. You can give at Cash App. If you're interested in having a dream or a vision interpreted, or you're interested in having a dream coaching session with me, then please go ahead and write that or visit that link. All right. Thank you, Evelyn. So glad you were on with us tonight. And then go to our description box, and we've got a link there for our book. We've got a there for our book. And thank you, Lila. Thank you for being on with us tonight. And so if you want to order our book, I've actually got only a few copies left. I've got to order a new shipment this month. But if you want to get a copy of our book, let me see. Well, I don't want to get up and leave. Okay. All right. All right. God bless you, Victoria. God bless you. And I want to encourage all of you to watch and try to glean and, look at what this month is going to look like for you. And come back and leave us, comments and tell us how you're doing, how you're prospering this month, how you're overcoming, and how you're stewarding this revelation. All right. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate you always. Thank you for being on with us. All right. All right, y'all. So we'll be back. I don't know when. We're still trying to well, we've got a couple of things. Hopefully we'll be ready to make the announcement this week that we're going to be offering you as part of our community here on YouTube. And we also have a couple of other things that we're doing as well. Okay. So God bless you. Thank you for joining us. Shalom.